Okay. And if you have blocks, if you have a pillow, if you have a blanket, that makes sitting on the floor easier. Some people find first part of the day, the body is a little bit stiff. So sitting all the way down on the mat sometimes makes the lower back feel kind of stiff. And the advice that I give to people is what we want to keep is an open channel from the base of our spine all the way to the crown of our head. So I'm going to turn my body so that you can kind of see my alignment. You know what I'm talking about. So I love this round mat. I can just twist around. So as you see, I've got, an encouraged arch in my lower back, which pulls my shoulders back, kind of like what our ball chairs at the office do. You still using your ball chair? I love my ball chair, and at home I have a kneeling chair. And, so it's all about what our pelvis bowl is doing. So if you look at your pelvis and you kind of hold your hands out like a cup together, just imagine that as your pelvis, and your pelvis bowl can tilt forward and it can tilt backwards. And what you want is for it to slightly tilt forward because that encourages that arch that we're talking about. I'm letting Nellie back in now. Let's see if we are successful. Okay, I just let her in. And I'm going to hamburger stack us again. And it still says connecting to audio for her. So let's be hopeful that we got her. Oh my goodness. Let's hope. I still see it says connecting to audio on hers. So then what I want you to do, do we have you, Nellie? Oh, I see an image. Well, we've got her. Let's see. Oh, we have you. Hi, Nellie. Can you hear us? Okay. I suspect you can hear us. Oh, it still says connecting to audio again. Goodness. Okay. Well, I see her image this time, which was more than we had last time. So I'm hoping she can hear us soon. So go ahead and inhale your shoulders up to your ears. And then exhale your shoulders back down, pulling your shoulder blades close together on your back. And while you do that, I'm going to call her again and ask her if she just wants me to keep her on the phone. I see her image moving because she's going to answer that phone. Do you want me to just keep you on audio on my phone?
Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm having this problem, but yeah, that'll be better.
Yeah, let's just do that. So I've got my phone out, and you tell me if you can't hear me very well. I'll talk as loud as I can, but my phone speaker should pick me up pretty well. Can you hear okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. So we're just getting started. We held on, and we'll do our full hour, and Diana says she'll get off at probably about 10 before 7 so she can get ready for work, but we have Diana here. So this is a reunion of souls. So I've just cued Diana to find a comfortable seating position. If you have blocks or a pillow or like a thick blanket to sit on, that's a really nice way to get started when we start in our first sitting pose of the day. And I explained to Diana that, our pelvis, the shape of our pelvis it's good to visualize it like it's a bowl. And when we're sitting, we actually kind of want our bowl to tilt slightly forward, not crazy forward, but just a little bit to encourage an arch in that lower back, which allows us to sit nice and tall, allows our shoulders to pull back and away from our ears and pull our shoulder blades down our back. That allows this nice open flow of energy from the base of our spine all the way to the crown of the head, and reduces any kind of tension in the lower back that might make sitting like this first thing in the morning kind of difficult. So go ahead and inhale your shoulders up to your ears, and then exhale, pull your shoulder blades together and back down. And just hold this space, shining your heart center up and forward. And start getting into your breath. A gentle inhaling through the belly and through the nose. And an exhale out. Keep on breathing. You can have your palms facing towards the sky in a receiving motion. You can have them face down on your thighs in a grounding spirit. You can have one up and one down to receive and to ground simultaneously. Now, as you continue breathing, I want you to start filling the body cavities. So starting with the belly, start to expand your lower ribs on your next breath. And then on the next breath, I want you to include your upper ribs. So belly, lower ribs, and upper ribs. Inhale. Exhale. And then on our next breath, as you inhale your breath, you're growing it up to the crown of your head. Incorporate your upper ribs, your chest, your shoulder blades, widening your collarbones. Exhale. And then for our final breath, fill your body cavity all the way up, all the way to the crown of the head. Exhale. Let's do that again. Exhale. I want you to imagine that you have a string pulling the crown of your head nice and high, creating lots of space from the crown of your head all the way down to the bottom of your tailbone. Maintaining that space, let's integrate some movement, inhaling our hands all the way up. And then as we exhale, pull your hands out to the side and down as far as you can reach, creating lots of space. Inhale, hands up. And then exhale in a wide circle, reaching out as far as you can, pulling your hands down. Inhale your hands out and up. Bring them together in a prayer at the top. And then on the exhale, bring them to your third eye in the center of your eyebrows. And then down to your heart center. Take a breath. And on the exhale, bow your head. And set an intention for this morning, for this practice, for this time we have together. Yoga is a really beautiful way to start our day. Inhale. Exhale, drop your hands down to the sides, and then inhale your hands out and wide and all the way up. And then exhale, bring them out to the sides. Place your left hand on the floor. And then turn your head to the right, tilting your right ear towards your right shoulder, and then dropping your left shoulder. So the goal here is to create as much space between your left ear and your left shoulder as you can. And just hold that and breathe into whatever tension or tightness you may feel there. One more breath together. Exhale, return your head to neutral and take your right hand and press it firmly into the floor or into the chair, whatever you're sitting on. Pull your left ear away, tilting towards your left shoulder, creating as much space as you can between your right shoulder and your right ear. And as you start to breathe, I want you to create the Ujjayi breath, which is created by breathing in and out of your nose and slightly constricting your throat as your air goes in and out. It's a breath that creates heat, kind of a silky feeling on the back of the throat. You might imagine how to make it by creating the sound of the letter H with your mouth closed. One more breath. Return your head to neutral. Let's bow on the inhale, bow our chin to our chest. And on the exhale, tilt our head back as far as feels comfortable, leading with the chin. Exhale, tilt down. And then on the inhale, go backwards. Return your head to neutral. If you feel comfortable doing shoulder circles, not shoulder circles, neck circles. We're going to tilt our chin down to our chest, and then our first circles will go to the right. You go at your own pace, but the sequence that I like to follow is tilt the chin down, inhale to the back, and then exhale as we continue in the circle, moving downward. So we're going to start with the right. So we'll inhale to the right. When we reach the back, we'll switch to an exhale and continue going to the left and down. So inhale, exhale, drop your chin, inhale to the right, exhale to the left. Continue that circle if it's comfortable to you, inhaling to the right, exhaling to the left, inhaling to the right, and then exhaling to the left. When we reach the bottom, we're going to reverse that, going to the left. Inhale to the left. Exhaling to the right. Inhaling to the left. Exhaling to the right. And then inhaling to the left. Exhale to a neutral. And now we're going to do some shoulder rolls. Inhale your shoulders up to your ears, and then exhale them backwards and down. And continue that circling, inhaling up and forward, exhaling back and down, inhaling back and up and forward, and then exhaling back and down. Let's reverse that now. So inhale back and up, and then exhale forward and down. Inhale back and up. And then exhale forward and down. One final circle, inhale back and up. And then exhale forward and down. And then let's put our hands out to the side, create a claw mark with your hands or a claw motion like you're gonna open up a doorway. And then just twist, swivel your hands backwards and forwards to start to warm up the shoulder joint. The only goal here is just to integrate some movement into the shoulders and the arms. Keep our shoulders away from the ears and down our back while we're doing this motion. Always train yourself to do that. And the challenge I give to all of my yoga studio students is to challenge yourself to hold your shoulders back and down and away from your ears all the time, not just when we're doing yoga because it's good for back health. So let's go to a tabletop position. So that's on our hands and our knees. And in that tabletop position, I want you to consider your alignment. I want your shoulders firmly stacked over your wrists. I want your fingers pointed forward. And I want your knees back slightly wide and underneath your hips at the same distance between your knees as you have between your hip bones. And then while you're in this position, I want you to pull the crown of your head towards the front of the room as you pull your belly button in against your spine. So just take note of how rooted you are in this position. Take note of what muscles you have engaged. You should feel lengthening in the side waist, and you should feel a broadening of the collarbone, and you should feel strength. You should feel strong in this pose. So keeping that same strength and alignment, we're going to move into the cow-cat phases. So cow is when we lift up our hips and lift up our chest on the inhale, dropping the belly. So inhale that into cow. And then on the exhale, we're going to move into cat, where we pull our back up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky. And then reverse that into cow, dropping the belly, rising the hips, rising the chest. If you want, you may open the throat. And then on the exhale, round the back, arch it as high as you can towards the ceiling. Inhale back into cow. When you're in cow, be thinking also of pulling your shoulder blades down your spine. And then exhale back into cat. put your big toes together, spread your knees wide, and then sit back, putting your buttocks on your heels, and we're going to move into a child's pose. So in child's pose, you have 3 arm variations that you can choose. You can place your forehead on the floor and place your hands to the side on the outside of your legs. You can reach your hands all the way forward if you want. The first time of the day, that may feel pretty tight on the shoulders. So I would recommend for all of us that we put our elbows out to the sides and stack our hands and place our forehead on our hands. And in child's pose, I want you to just focus on expansion of the breath through the belly and out. Child's pose is a really good restorative pose. It's a good pose for reconnecting with the breath. And it's an excellent counter pose anytime you've done some asanas or poses that create tension in your lower spine. I hear Steve. And then if you feel like you're open enough to do so, you can reach your hands forward on the mat, having your forehead on the mat. And again, focusing on pulling your ears away from your shoulders. As you expand the belly, and concentrate on your breathing. Let's do one more breath together. And then on the exhale, go ahead and move your hands back into the tabletop position, but you're still sitting back on your heels. Take your right hand out to the side and thread it underneath your left hand, laying your shoulder on the floor. And this is just encouraging a gentle shoulder opening, and it's starting to also open up the pelvis a little bit and encourage some opening, some stretching out of the pelvis and opening up of those joints of the hip. And so you're looking to the left, you're laying across your right shoulder, and your arm is to the left. And just breathe into that space, breathe into any tension you may be feeling. Go ahead and rise up using your left hand. Place your right hand where your left hand is. Take your left hand out to the side. And then on the exhale, go ahead and thread that underneath your right hand and lay down on your left shoulder, looking to the right. Your hand is to the right. You're laying across your left shoulder and you're looking to the right. And so now you'll feel a gentle opening of your other hip crease. And just breathe into that. And one more inhale. And then exhale, rise back up, go back into tabletop position. Bring your knees in alignment with your hips, stacked right underneath your hips. Go ahead and inhale into cow again. And then exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. And then exhale to a neutral spine. And then start to curl to the right. So you're creating a left side stretch, looking out over your right shoulder at your foot behind you. If you were to look at your body, the motion doesn't really seem significant, but it should feel like a really deep letter C. You'll feel a crunch on the right side as you look over your right shoulder. Inhale, return to neutral, and then reverse that and go to the other side. Look over your left shoulder, creating a letter C on the right side. Stretching out your side body waist, crunching your left waist, looking at your left foot. Nice. Now I'm going to direct you to one more pose here on the floor. We call it puppy dog pose. So I want you to keep your hips high up in the air. It's not the same as child's pose. It's like child's pose with your hips raised in the air. So from this tabletop position, I want you to arch your lower back and pull your hips up high in the air, but your knees are on the floor. And then keeping that height of your hips in the air, I want you to reach forward with your hands on your mat, just like you're doing a downward facing dog, only this is puppy dog because you're down on the floor. And this kind of encourages that opening of the shoulders and the collarbones and the chest that you have in downward facing dog, but we're down on the floor with our knees on the floor. And just enjoy that whole front body stretch. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears, widening the collarbones, just like you would in downward facing dog. One more breath and walk it back. And then let's go ahead and find ourselves at the top of the mat, standing together. So we're going to start a mild sequence of a sun salutation. So what I first want you to do is check your stacked alignment. I want your shoulders to be firmly over your hips over your ankles. And to get your feet activated in this pose, knowing that the energy that we are engaging in is exchanging from the ground up and the crown down. So we derive that energy from the earth by activating our feet and lifting up our arches. And when we lift up our arches, that carries that energy up through our knees, through our inner thighs, up through the center of our cores, up to our chest. So look down, look at your feet, and then start to lower your toes one at a time. But keep that activeness of your foot while you're at it. And then move your head backwards just slightly so that it's stacked well over your shoulders, maintaining this space and this length. Go ahead and raise your arms up on the inhale. And then exhale your hands down to the sides. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then inhale up. And then exhale, hinge at the waist, or hinge at the hips rather. Bend your knees slightly and start to tilt forward. Keep a nice deep knee bend and drop your hands to the floor. You can tense your fingers on the floor. If your hands can lay flat on the floor, that's fine. If you want to place your hands on your shins, that's fine. But we're going into like a modified forward fold with a deep knee bend. And right now, the concentration is just letting go of any tension in the neck and the head by allowing the head to drop and starting to gently open up the hamstrings. I want your body to be laying across your thighs to reduce any tension on your lower spine. And just get into that gentle stretch. You should feel this right along the back of your hamstrings. You should feel no tension in your lower back. If you feel tension in your lower back, raise your chest slightly and pull your head forward. Let's reverse our swan dive and stand back up again. So on your inhale, pull your hands out to the side, bring your chest up, and then stand all the way up, bringing your hands all the way to the top. And then on the exhale, bring your hands into a prayer pose. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. And then on the exhale, swan dive forward. If you want your legs a little bit straighter this time, you are free to do so, or you can keep that deep bend. Drop the head. Inhale into a flat back by placing your hands on your shins and pulling your head forward. Exhale back down. And let's reverse that swan dive. Flat back, lifting all the way up, hands out to the side. Inhale all the way to the top. And then exhale, bring your hands down into prayer pose. Inhale. Exhale, hands down, then inhale your hands up. And then exhale, swan dive forward, flat back as you descend down into that forward fold. Inhale into a flat back. Place your hands on the floor. Let's go into our first plank pose of the day, but let's do it on our knees. So just like you're going into a push-up, you are on your knees, your chest is lifted, your arms are straight, pulling the crown of your head forward, pulling your chest up and through. And this is going to be our plank pose for now. Just go ahead and hold this for 5 breaths, pulling your belly button in against your spine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and lower down, pulling your elbows into your ribs, lower all the way to the floor. And then I'm gonna cue you to put your elbows right underneath your shoulder blades. So your belly is on the floor, your chest is lifted, your thighs are resting comfortably on the floor, the tops of your feet are on the floor. And then what I want you to do is pull your shoulder blades down your back. And as you're doing so, that will organically help your chest rise up and pull the crown of your head up. And while doing that, you should feel engagement of the muscles all along each side of the spine, from the lumbar up through the thoracic zone. These are the muscles that we activate for lots and lots of poses. And by doing this, you are strengthening all of those muscles. So this is a really excellent posture for people that have had disc injuries. This helps move those discs back into the space where they should be. Okay, go ahead. Drop your chest to the floor. Take your hands and place them underneath your shoulders. We're going to go into some baby cobras. So I want you to inhale your shoulders up to your ears and then exhale them back down, lifting up your chest at the same time, pulling your elbows into your ribs. And then exhale down. Inhale your shoulders up, elbows close to the ribs as you rise your chest up. And then exhale back down. Let's do that a third time. Inhale, shoulders up and back down your spine as you rise up. Exhale back down. Tuck your toes. Move back towards child's pose. So moving your hips back towards your heels, and then lift up into your first downward facing dog of the day. Your first downward dog is going to feel kind of awkward because we're stiff still, but concentrate on pressing the floor away with your hands, hollowing out your armpits, pulling your shoulders away from the spine, and lifting your hips high up into the air and away from your shoulders. You can keep your knees deeply bent. And then if you want, you can start walking out your dog by straightening one leg and bending the other. The first downward facing dog is usually kind of stiff looking. All righty, so let's take our right leg, however you want to bring it up. You can kind of slide it forward, or you can lift it up and bring your knee to your chest and move your weight forward. But either way you get there, take your right foot and place it between your right hands and then drop your left knee. If you have blocks this morning, I recommend that you use them and place them on either side of your right foot. So your knee is down on the floor and I've got my hands on a set of blocks. And right now I've just got my chest raised up and I'm allowing my hips to gently open up. I'm kind of sinking into my hips. And just breathe into that space. Let's do one more breath of that together. And then on your exhale, move your hips back and bring your right foot back to join your left foot. And take your left foot and place it in front, in between your blocks, leaving your right knee on the floor, rising your chest up, and just move your hips forward to encourage a stretch of your right hip now. I don't know about you guys, but my hips are pretty stiff this time of the day. I don't do power yoga at this hour. I'm not open enough for it. And dang it, I'm 52. I'm reminding myself that I'm middle-aged now. Okay, so now we're going to take our right foot to join our left foot. So go ahead and kind of use a little bit of momentum if you need to bend your left leg, move your weight forward, and bring your right foot to join your left foot. When you arrive at the top there, go into a flat spine by pulling the crown of your head forward, pushing against your shins. And then exhale down into that forward fold. And then reverse swan dive forward all the way up to the top. And then exhale, bring your hands to your chest. So we're gonna repeat that again so that we can reopen those hips up again. So inhale, exhale your hands down to the side, inhale your hands up, Exhale, swan dive forward, all the way down to the floor, dropping the crown of the head. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, place your hands down. Now, if you want, you can go straight back into that downward facing dog. You might feel more open this time. And go ahead and try to stretch your dog as much as feels good to you. The advice I always give to students is worry less about what your heels are doing. Worry less about what the back of your legs are doing. And pay attention to your hips, pulling your hips high up into the ceiling and backwards, allowing space so that you can have a nice straight line from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head, giving space for your chest center, your heart center to descend towards the floor, hollowing out the armpits, pulling your shoulders away from the ears. And just breathe into that space. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale. Shift your weight forward, pulling your right foot in between your hands. Grab your blocks again and place them on either side and drop your left knee. And then just allow that hip to gently open. Breathe into that a couple, 3 times. And then on the exhale, pull your left hip backwards as we switch sides, placing our right knee down and pulling our left foot forward, and then moving our hips forward again to stretch out the right hip. Beautiful. So go ahead and place your blocks aside, and then pull your right foot forward to join your left foot. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down, dropping the crown of the head to the floor. And then inhale all the way up to the top. And then exhale, bring your hands to prayer pose. So we moved back into Tadasana. Nellie, we're standing up again. So inhale. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. And then I'm going to advise you to, if you have the balance to do so, pick up your right foot and move it backwards into Warrior One positioning of your feet. So in Warrior One, you've got your right toes pointed forward at a 45-degree angle, ideally, and your left toes are completely pointed forward, and you have a bend in your left knee. However deep you want that bend to be is entirely up to you. But what I do tell people is to have proper alignment in this pose, you might need to keep your feet wider, meaning more to the left and the right of your mat, so that your 2 hip bones, which you're going to put your fingers on right now, can be facing forward. So this can be your extended version of Warrior Two this morning, or you can join me by rising your hands up, and you can sink as deeply as you want to in this pose. But I want you to concentrate on pulling your belly button in against the spine, pulling your shoulder blades down and away from the ears. If your hands are raised up, pulling them slightly behind your ears. And just breathe. Inhale, reach your hands up while you're keeping your hips low. And then on the exhale, bring your hands back down to your hips. And then shift your weight forward as you bring your right foot to join your left. Take your left foot and place it behind you, creating Warrior One feet again. So your left toes are at like a 45-degree angle facing forward. Your right toes are facing forward. There's a bend in your right knee. Pull your right hip backwards as you pull your left hip forwards to square off your hips and have both of your hip bones facing in the same direction. They're like headlights, right? You can place your hands on your hip bones and then move them out, and they should be equal with one another as your hands extend. Okay, so you can bend your knee as deeply as is workable for you. I tend to do a nice deep knee bend here, but you can have a slight knee bend, but keep your back leg very straight. You can continue to maintain this pose, or you can join me by raising your hands up to the ceiling, Pulling your shoulder blades back down your spine, lengthening the crown of your head. Pulling your arm bone slightly behind your ears. Belly button in against the spine as you allow your hips to sink and breathe. One more breath, reaching your arms up high. And on the exhale, bring your left foot up to join your right foot. Let's clean that up with a breath. Inhale your hands up. And then exhale, swan dive forward, dropping the crown of your head. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale down. And then inhale all the way back up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. So now we're going to go into a Warrior Two series. So I'm going to change my position slightly so that you guys can see my right foot going behind me. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the right foot behind like we did before. But now I want you to turn your right foot so that it's parallel with the mat on the back side. And then go ahead and bend deeply into your left leg. So this is a hip opening pose. You can place your hands on your hips. Now, if you ever need support, you can always have a chair nearby also to just hold on to while you move into any of these standing balancing poses. So right now, what I want you to concentrate on in Warrior Two is you have a nice straight leg behind you. Your right foot is parallel with the mat. Your left knee is over your left ankle, and you can see your right toes, you know, your left toes. You can see your big toe. And the way that you do that is by trailing your knee towards the outside of your pinky toe, engaging all of those muscles on the outside of the left hip. Now you can join me by raising up your hands to shoulder height, pull your shoulder blades together, and look out over your left hand. And then just breathe. Place your hands on your hips, straighten out your left leg. Turn your left foot forward so that the side of your foot is parallel with the back of your mat. And then turn your right toes so that they are opposite of the way they were before. So they're pointing towards, well, whatever is the front of the back of your mat. So we're just taking the same motion that we had before, and we're just reversing our feet position. And we're going to bend our right knee deeply. Keep our left leg very, very straight. Engage those muscles on the outside of your right hip to pull your knee towards your pinky toes. Pull your shoulder blades together. Open up your hands to shoulder height. Pull your belly button in against your spine and breathe. And one more breath together. And then exhale, straighten out your right leg. Have both of your sets of toes pointing forward. What we're going to do is a wide-legged forward fold this morning. So I want you to keep your hands on your hips. You can take your thumbs and place them on your lower back, kind of where your SI joints are, where those dimples are behind your back. Pull your elbows together as you lift up your chest to the ceiling. Now, this is a good opportunity if you have blocks to place your blocks underneath you so you can have your blocks in front of you, okay? So you have two ways you can go into this forward fold that we're going to do. You can grab your blocks, inhale all the way up to the ceiling, and then exhale, pulling your hands out to the side, flattening your back like you're doing a swan dive, and then place your blocks in front of you. And you can just place your hands on your blocks and just hold that position kind of like a letter L. So your legs are like in an upside down V. Your toes are pointed forward. You're pulling the crown of your head forward, and you're getting a nice stretch along your hamstrings. So that's one variation of this. Or you can have your hands on the floor and be working towards lengthening your chest towards the floor in any way that works for you. If you have great extension already, you can drop the crown of your head and pull your hands behind you between your legs. And we'll hold this for 3 breaths. Okay, let's start to move out of that. Pull your hands up. If your hands are on blocks, you can lift your blocks to the highest setting to gradually move yourself up. And then when it feels right, you can leave one hand on the block if you want to, or you can take both hands off, put your thumbs where your SI joints are, and rise all the way up. We're going to do some easy triangle poses. So to go into the first triangle pose, I just want you to pivot your left toes towards the edge of the mat, the short edge of the mat, rather. And then you can take your block and place it on the outside of your left foot. Keep your right hand on your right waist, and then just start to tilt towards that leg. So right now, what I want you to concentrate on is opening up the chest by pulling your right shoulder backwards. Inner spiral your left thigh so that your kneecap is facing the sky or the ceiling. And then just focus on tilting to the left, but keeping your waist sides long. And that's where the block is really helpful for that. And just keep your hand on your waist. So we're not lifting up our arm. We're not creating a stressful triangle pose. We're not creating a fully extended triangle. We're just going through those motions. You don't have to have your left leg perfectly straight. You can maintain a micro bend in that left leg. And then on the inhale, rise up. And then turn your left leg so it's parallel with that short side of the mat again, and pivot your right foot so that it is facing the opposite side of the short side of the mat. Take your block and place it on the outside of your right leg. Place your left hand on your left hip bone, and then move into your triangle gently, creating a lot of space in the side waist, pulling your left shoulder backwards. Keep your hand on your hip, your right hand on your block. Inner spiral of your right thigh so that your kneecap is facing the ceiling. And just breathe. One more breath. And then exhale, go ahead and rise up. And if it's available to you, if you have the strength, let's just go ahead and kind of lean into our right leg, bend our right knee as we bring our left foot up to join our right foot. And let's go ahead and wash that slate clean. So inhale our hands up, and then exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold over your legs. Inhale into a flat back, exhale down. Let's move back into a downward facing dog again. However you choose to get there, I just stepped back into my dog. And then just make this as extended a dog as you're able to. Focus on what you feel. Don't worry about pulling your heels down to the floor. Don't worry about straight legs. One more inhale. And then exhale, drop your knees to the floor. Sit back on your heels. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can also sit on a block. But it's good to take a little bit of time every day to have some deep knee bend poses. It's good to bring fluid to your joints and encourage flexibility of the joint to reduce the risk of knee injuries that often take place with twists of the knee. They happen at the most inopportune times, frankly. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and sit down on the floor. And Nellie, if you find it hard to have your feet out in front because you don't have the hip mobility, you can sit up on a blanket, which will allow your pelvis bowl to shift slightly forward and give a little space in the spine. So we're just going to sit up nice and tall in this pose. So your body is shaped like a letter L, your feet are out in front. And just concentrate. This is just like Tadasana, where we're pulling our shoulder blades down. And we're straightening out our back and rising the crown of our head high up to the ceiling. Now you can take your blocks and you can place them on either side of your legs, or you don't have to use them at all. You can just keep your hands on your thighs. And I just want you to move your chest forward. I don't want you to reach for your feet. I just want you to move your chest forward. pulling your belly button in against the spine as the area of origin of a forward fold. And by doing so, you reduce risk of injury to the lower back because you're not yanking on your feet to try to pull yourself into that position. Another option that people have is they like to put a towel underneath their legs and slightly bend their legs, which allows you to bend even more into your legs without tension on the lower spine. So I just lifted my knees slightly and put my hands underneath them. And I'm just allowing my body to fold forward at a slow rate, at a comfortable pace. That works for me. And just breathe into any place you feel tension. Okay, and when you feel ready, go ahead and rise up on the inhale. And we're going to do bound ankle pose. So you take your palms of your feet or the soles of your feet and you place them together. And they don't have to be close to your hips if you don't want that. They can even be kind of far out in front. Sometimes I like to create almost a diamond shape with my legs when I have myself in bound ankle pose. So you find the position that you like the best. But what we're going to concentrate on right now is hanging onto our ankles, pulling our shoulders down and back, widening our collarbones, and just allowing our hips to naturally open in this pose. I always tell people that if you can't breathe, whatever pose you're in, you just need to back out of it because your breath is your guide. Your breath tells you if you're positioned right. Your breath tells you if it's safe. Your breath tells you if it's doing you good. The breath is king in yoga. Breath is king in life. It is our life force. It is our prana. Now, as your hips open up, if you want to move your feet closer to your pelvis, you can. That's entirely up to you. Right now, I am actually wrapping my fingers around my toes, but my shoulder blades are still back and down. So another indicator in this pose that you're too fully extended is that if you start to round your back, that's an indicator that maybe you need to back off and use props. Props are always a very good thing. So now we're going to go into gentle seated twist. So you can do an easy seated cross-legged pose if you want to go into your spinal twist. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my legs so that my right foot is underneath my left hip, and my left hip is underneath, my left foot is under my right hip, I'm sorry, and my right leg is stacked on top of my left leg with my right leg on the floor on the outside of my left leg. So you can choose whatever position you want. And then to go into the twist, place your right hand behind you, behind your right hip. You can either clip your elbow on the outside of your knee, or you can just touch your knee with your hand and then start to move from the center of the belly, pulling your right shoulder back. Start to look behind you. One more inhale. Exhale, pull your right shoulder back. And then on the next inhale, return to neutral and go ahead and change your position. So I'm going to change my leg position now. If you are sitting cross-legged, you might challenge yourself by changing the cross-leggedness of your feet by having whichever foot was in front now in the back. But you can stay in your existing position if that works for you as well. Go ahead and place your left hand behind your left hip. Bring your right hand on the outside of your knee, or bring your elbow on the outside of your knee if you're sitting like I am. And then on the inhale, grow your crown of your head all the way up to the ceiling, lengthening the spine. And on the exhale, pull your left shoulder backwards. And then just always focus on your inhale is about lengthening, and your exhale is about the twist. And we encourage the twist by pulling from the belly button of the lower spine. That's where the twist originates, and then trailing our left shoulder behind us. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, return back to the neutral spine. So, do you have any poses you want to work on while we're down here on the floor, Nellie, that you would like me to include before we head into our Shavasana? Okay, so let's work our way into Shavasana, and I'm going to take you into some visualization for relaxation. So go ahead and find a laying down position that is comfortable for you. If you have to do a little bit of movement to get the wiggles out of you before you settle in, that's totally okay. But as you lay down on the floor, what I want you to do is I want you to pull your shoulder blades a little bit together to create some space for your upper back. And you can have your legs bent with your feet on the floor if that's comfortable to you, or you can lay your feet all the way down, whatever is best for you. Sometimes people find that it's a little bit stressful on the lower back to lay on a hard floor, but you release that tension by having your feet on the floor. So whatever you want. Some people also choose to kind of butterfly their feet out by having the palms of the soles of their feet together in a bound angle pose. So that's an option as well. And then your hands are palms up facing the ceiling. So what I'd like you to do right now is concentrate on kind of slowing the breath down. And then we're going to start a visualization of relaxation, starting with the crown of the head. So I want you to inhale. And then on the exhale, draw your attention to the top of your head. Relax all of the muscles, the skin and your scalp. Imagine it like a melting candle. And then take an inhale and draw your attention to your forehead, the space between your eyebrows. Relax all of the skin of the forehead and of your face and the scalp area above the knees, above the ears, I'm sorry. And then relax your ears. And then take an inhale. Draw your attention to your throat. Relax your jaw, relax your neck muscles. Allow some space between your teeth by allowing your jaw to go slightly slack. Pull your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. And then inhale. Draw attention to your heart center. Relax your shoulders, all of your chest muscles. Relax your arms and your hands. And then inhale. Draw attention to your solar plexus muscles, the middle of your core. And release any tension in your ribs and your side waist. Allow your torso to fall deeply into the weight of the floor. And then draw your attention to your sacral region. Relax all of your lower back muscles, relax your hips. And finally, inhale. And draw attention to the root of your spine and your lower legs. Fully relax your quadriceps, your knees, your calves, and your shins. Relax your ankles and your feet. And just breathe gently. And we'll lay in Shavasana for about 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to start to come back to the present. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Go ahead and place the palms of your feet on the floor. And bring one knee to your chest. And just hug that knee to your chest, creating a little pinching sensation in your hip joint, but creating a gentle stretch on the outside of your hip. Now, if you want to, you can take your ankle and cross it over your left leg. You can reach forward, threading your hands through the space between your thighs and clasp the back side of your left leg, and just encouraging a gentle stretch along the outside of your right hip. This is a reclined pigeon pose. Feel that gentle breathing that you were doing in Savasana. One more inhale. And then go ahead and drop your left foot back down to the floor. Supporting your knee, go ahead and drop your right foot to the floor. Go ahead and grab your left leg and hold your chin close to your chest, creating a slight pinch of the crease of your hip. Hugging it tight, allowing a little bit of a stretch of the back of your left hip. And then take your left ankle, cross it over your right knee. You can stay like this if you want, or you can reach between your legs and grab your right thigh, clasping your hands behind it and encouraging a gentle stretch of the outside of your left hip in reclined pigeon. One more inhale. And then exhale, drop your right foot down. Supporting your knee, you go ahead and drop your left foot down. Go ahead and roll over to one side or the other. I'm rolling over to my right side. And kind of just lay in a little ball on your right side. Just breathe. And then on the exhale, using the strength of your arms, go ahead and rise up gently into a sitting position. Keep your head low still. And swivel around to the front of your mat and find an easy seated pose. And once you've reached your seated position, inhale your shoulders up. Exhale your shoulders back down as you lift up your chest and then gently rise your head. Flutter your eyes open if they were closed. And then inhale your hands up to the ceiling. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale your hands down. And one more inhale, hands up. And then on the exhale, bring your hands to the center of your forehead and bring them back to heart center and bow into your hands. I want to thank you for sharing this time with me this morning. What a beautiful way to start the day, leading with the breath, the prana, the life force. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. May it not be too warm up there in your neck of the woods. I think here in the mountains, it's going to be a nice day. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. My light joins with yours. Namaste.